ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode. This is Titandala, the podcast. I'm your host. My name is Charlie, and like every other week, got a special guest in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is a TV personality, radio personality, author, entrepreneur, great mother, and great TikToker. I had to say that. I really had to say that. Christy, ladies and gentlemen, joining me today on the podcast, man. We've been wanting to make this happen for the longest time.
It's good to be here.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
to have you. Now, let me tell
here.
you, for a lot of people that I know, you've been on holiday for the longest time. What is, Christy, what is happening? Listen, by the way, she was a nominee for 20 what?
That was 20 what though? 2013?
2013 Best Female Radio DJ nominee for the Zambian Music Awards. And then after that, she just went like, is it because you didn't win that award?
No. If anything, I think I felt like I won more because I was nominated among great arts also.
Right.
I think my leaving the industry for a bit at the time, I had a lot to do with just getting in contact with myself. I felt like I was losing me at some point. And then there was kids, and then I just got married. So it was very
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
Like,
so
I
had
to
to take a chill pill and just kind of,
But your shows were amazing, man.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you
I was a
so
huge fan
much.
of your mid-morning show.
Thank you.
Like I used to
Thank
listen
you.
like all the time.
That was, I think, one of my
like,
favorite shows.
Yeah,
I
because
did.
I'm selective when it comes to listening to radio. When I love a show for what it is, and for you were just like natural. You know what I mean? Like
Thank you.
pleasant to listen to.
Thank you so much.
You know what I mean? But anyway, before we get to that, born and bred in Lusaka.
Yes, born and bred in Lusaka, Makeni, to be specific.
Yeah.
Yes. My biological dad died when I was 6 months. So
6 months.
Yeah, I've only got one picture of what he looked like because that's the only picture everybody had. And but he was into media. He used to DJ. He was a club
For
DJ.
real?
Yes, he's the one that taught the Yama brothers more about radio DJing and the like.
Yes.
So this media part comes from my dad.
Absolutely.
Yes, but then I was adopted by an amazing man. I didn't even feel like I was a half daughter until I think I only knew that I was his half daughter when I was done with 12th grade, and that was because my biological dad's family came looking for me.
Wait, like at this point you're with your mom?
Yes,
Oh,
my mom.
okay.
Then 2 years after she got married to Mr. Mwemba, who I carry the surname for. He adopted me by paper, everything.
Yeah.
So they had to change my name. They had to do all that. And
So you grew up not knowing that he wasn't your biological dad?
No, I was a spoiled kid.
Ah,
so I
yes.
didn't even feel like he's not my dad. I got
Yeah.
everything I wanted. I went to good schools. I was out of the country with him half the time.
Yeah.
So I had that exposure with media because I'd always wanted to be a radio host. If anything, yes.
Was he in the media as well?
No, businessman.
Yeah.
Far from the media. But
So how did that come about though?
I think with media, I one day I was home and actually I was going to church with mom and the Catholic church, and I remember Father Laston Popa wanted somebody to narrate something for him.
Yeah.
So he said, I want you to try because you
you're
speak
Catholic,
well.
eh?
Yes, I'm Catholic. Because you
Ah,
speak well,
I see.
so come through. And I and when they played it in church, everyone was like, who is she? Is this a computer? Is this, And my mom was very proud. My dad was over the moon.
Yeah.
You can actually do radio. You can actually do it. But I still didn't feel like radio was for me. I wanted to.
Is it?
I saw this from my dad. So I was
Yeah.
There's something here. There's something.
Something we can work with.
So I started off at the time it was Comet Radio before it got to Money FM. And that's when they got me and we started doing radio.
Wait, what? That was like your first radio experience?
First radio experience.
Lie.
Yes.
Do you know that how you look, you're one of the first voices on that radio station.
Yes.
And no, like in the media, every time there's a new radio station, you want to tune in to listen what they're about.
Yes.
And your voice was outstanding.
Thank you.
Can't
So
believe that was your first time.
That was my first time. Big break. And
Yeah.
that then, I think I didn't even stay long
Yeah,
because
yeah.
just after that, somebody called me and said, "Oh, there's an audition for Born and Bred.
Yeah.
Please try." And I said, TV, not for me, but let's
Yeah.
try. And went there, and yeah, here I am now.
And you got it.
And I got it. And
Yeah, and Born and Bred was amazing. It wasn't like, listen, Born and Bred wasn't the same when you guys took it up. To be honest, was it like the first time you're taking it away from the original host?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
From that time, I think they have not brought back the same host. Like it keeps rotating because you guys did an amazing job.
Thank
A
you.
fucking amazing job.
Thank you.
Did you during the Born and Bred times? Did you get into confrontations with artists? Because I think your show was controversial. Like, wow, you guys. Because every Zambian music video wanted to be on board.
Yes, I think at the time, where you're not the producer, you're just the presenter. So when you're moving, hey, you don't play our songs, you're selfish, But then trying to make people understand we don't have a lot of. It's not in our hands to select the music that goes or plays on air. Because there's a producer, that was IK. So he selects the music. Obviously, a bit of advice from us here, there, but we didn't really have so much say in the selection of the songs that get to play on the show. So I've never really been in a one-on-one confrontation with anybody. I'm a lovable. I don't like to fight, so I stay away. So but it was there. Bad blood was there. Yeah, not everybody really felt like we deserved to be on Born and Bred. Yes, you have. The industry has a lot of. Sadly, we women are our own failure most of the times because you don't want to see another woman rise. Yeah, you want to be the only one to shine, and very few women are okay with pulling one up and helping grow, but.
Absolutely. So you had some that felt you're not supposed to be that show. Like, you're not cut out for the show.
Yes.
And you know them.
Yes, I do. I do. The industry, but and for me, I'm like, look, whatever negative criticism comes, I always find a way to channel it to be positive, because if you're not, everybody can love what you do, not everybody can love you, but for them to take time to sit and critique you, there should be something you're doing right. They're just not going to pinpoint it, but there should be something you're doing right. So from that point, I'm like, look, they sat to watch me on TV, they critique me here, there, but for them to sit on every Thursday to watch me, there's something I'm doing right that's making them glued to TV, even if it's the hate, but you're still gonna watch me. So
was that like your big break to the silver screen?
Yes, that was my
national television, countrywide. How did that work for you, though?
It was amazing. It opened quite a lot of doors for me. I was just after we were selected as the hosts for Born and Bred. Then
who was the co-host?
That was Josh.
That motherfucker.
That was Josh.
I know he's gonna kill me.
That was ravishing.
Yeah.
So it was like the three of us, and that very year we're going to be hosting. We're going to be doing the Born and Bred Awards.
Yeah.
And off just being a presenter, I was called by Franklin Tembo Jr. And he said, come to my office. And I was rushing because I didn't know what I was being called for.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need you to host the awards.
Wow.
And I'm like,
and it was buzzing at the time. And you're like,
and it was going to be my first ever biggest show to host. And mostly it's a biggest award ceremony at the time that we had. And I'm like, wait, okay. And then they get to tell me you're hosting it with Asians. And I'm like,
what?
These are people I'm looking up to. What do you mean? So it was amazing. I think the whole time that I did Born and Bred, for me, it opened so many doors, and it was just beautiful. Because from then on, I then got my job at Q.
Yeah.
So it was Born and Bred and Q at the same time. So it was phenomenal. It was
amazing stuff. And at this point now, you feel like, hey, listen, media is for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because I have a whole team. That I run. I'm not so much into. I don't attend a lot of events. I'm not so.
And this is what I was even saying earlier. Like, you are like, listen. And this is one thing I really admire about you, is that you are in the industry, but you're not like an industry person. You like, it's rare if I bump into you at an event. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Why is that though?
I love my peace and sanity. I'm a loud person. I love to hang out with friends, but I love to hang out with people I know.
Yeah.
I don't like being around people I don't know, because I don't know how to act. You know, I don't know if I'm supposed to be the foolish me. I'm supposed to be subtle. I'm supposed to take water.
So it's awkward
or
now,
take
like
my
it's-
liquor from the tip of the bottle like I do with my people.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's there. But I would attend an event mostly if I have very close friends to me that are either hosting it or performing, or I'm working. A lot of events I attend, I'm working.
Yeah.
There's no event I've attended that I'm not working. All events I attend, I'm working, or there's a friend hosting it and I want to get there. But I honestly, I love my peace, Charlie. I love
Yeah.
being home. I love being home. So
You are content with
yes,
your own
I'm content with my space
company.
and my own company. So it's my kids, it's my friends, it's family. So that's just how
That's
it is
really
for
dope,
me.
and it keeps your sanity because
Yes.
damn it, this industry,
Oh,
man.
this industry is toxic. It's
I
a
tell
very
you.
toxic industry.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna
yeah.
talk about that now. Let's talk about you're doing your show on national television. You got a gig at Q. Your trajectory in the media is amazing, and what happens next?
I get married. I got married.
That sounds like you're regretting, like, and then I go, man.
You know, the thing is, I
Wait,
don't.
how did you meet him? Like, you met through media, or is this somebody else?
No. We met through social media. We met through Tugo. Tugo app.
That's a old
Legends.
School. What the hell?
We met through Tugo. So
Legends, eh?
yeah, so we met through Tugo and we
Hey,
became
how does
friends.
Tugo
from
work?
there.
Is it like Facebook or what?
It's different. It was like Mix It, High Five. I don't know. You guys are MySpace somewhere
After you
there.
old.
Yeah, so we met through that and we became friends and started
Yeah.
dating, and we got married about 5 to 6 years after being together. And I had to prioritize my family, work, and it was a little bit overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah. we
Do you feel
held
like
it
it's a
down
thing
and-
for a lot of females in the media, because you see them going up and then get married and then it sort of they start slanting a little bit?
Well, I've noticed that, but I think also it's preference to what works for you as a couple and
Right,
the sacrificial
right.
aspect of it.
Was he supportive of your career though? Now I see where it's coming from. Yeah.
Not really, you know, like
But he knew from the onset that, hey, this is what you do.
yes. I just think at some point it got a little overwhelming for him also.
Yeah, like,
because
oh, this
it's-
22 hours is.
Yes, and then
know?
I'm getting home at 2.
Oh, 20 hours is. Is that hours is? No.
No. You know, I'm getting home at 2, I'm getting home at 3, I'm tired half the
Yeah.
time. You know, so it was very overwhelming, I think, for both of us. So I had to peak, and my career had to be a sacrificial lump in this place. So
Yeah.
I didn't feel, even today, I don't have regrets of putting that down
Yeah.
because I did it out of the most purest part of my heart.
Yeah.
And I think I needed it because I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't do that big break.
Is it?
Yes.
Tell me more about that. How did that become like a turning point in your life?
I focused. I became more focused, and I decided to be more selfish about my happiness. So because then I was very selfless. Look, you're gonna sacrifice a whole entire career for a marriage that you are not even sure it might or might not work out.
True.
Yes.
100%.
So
100%.
I did that, regardless of sacrificing a career and everything. I'm not even with the person that I sacrificed the career for.
Yo.
So it made me realize I needed to put myself first before anybody else. And in this case, not even my kids come before me. I'm putting myself first because my sanity are where my kids rely on. So if I'm going to go cuckoo, my kids go cuckoo too. So I need to put me first and
I get
prioritize
it.
me.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to have a man that's going to come and make me feel like you need to sacrifice your career for us to be together, you are not the man for me.
Yeah.
Move aside. Maybe your crown has to be tilted by somebody else, but I'm not going to be that person, you know? So I feel like from that on, I started to work on me, my self-confidence, and that's where my book came from, because I was in a very bad place.
Yeah.
Because then I started feeling like, look, my friends are progressing. You know, maybe if I stayed in TV.
Did you feel at this point that probably your life was at a standstill? Like
Yes.
you're not moving forward?
Yes, it was
What
stagnant.
made you feel like that?
Because then I couldn't find, when no matter how many things you try and do, I tried do this, there was no passion in what I didn't really love what I would do. I had got a job even after I became a marketing manager, but I didn't feel like that's what I wanted to do. It wasn't for me. So I was very sad, So at that time I decided to start, before I even figured I wanted to write a book. I just started writing in my journal because my mom would always say, when you feel some sort of way, write your feelings
Jot it
down.
down.
It will help you. So I write my feelings down, and I remember one day writing a letter to God, and I said, I am challenging you with every word you've written in the Bible, and I'm holding you accountable for my happiness. If I'm gonna be sad for over 2 years, then you don't exist. And I've convinced myself that. So you need to show yourself.
And he came through. 100%. He always does.
Too much. Like,
he doesn't play that one.
Too much. Like, it just opened. Like for a certain phase, I was in a very bad place. But slowly, I started realizing I don't expect somebody else to make me happy. I am author of my happiness. So I need to be happy before anything. So slowly, the only thing I started asking God for was, I just need strength and give me happy. I just need strength and give me happy.
So kind of take me through. What were the things that we were going through at this particular point specifically?
I was depressed, firstly. I was very depressed. I was going through a lot of denial issues. I went through a lot of, being in so I said the industry is very toxic. Especially, it's the few people that you feel you can count on to have your back that don't normally have your back in the industry. There are very few genuine friends that should meet in the industry that mean well. But some are just, it's just industry. Let's keep it in the industry. It's not away from the industry. So at this point, I was going through a lot of denial issues. I felt like I was not making my partner happy because then I just felt like even my kids, like at the time it was just my daughter, but then I was pregnant also. So I felt like I was failing in every aspect as being a daughter, a daughter-in-law, a mother, and I can't fully provide. It's a lot. I can't fully provide the way I want. I can't be a helper the way I want to help the person I'm with. So it was crazy, and I was depressed for the longest time. If anything, I actually became an alcoholic. But only very few people knew that I was an alcoholic. Like one of my best friends, Helen, is the only person I would call at midnight and I'm crying. I don't even need to give a reason. But the good thing is, her and her husband would listen. And he's a very, until to date, I feel like if I ever had to win a lottery or something, he would be the first person I would consider to even buy exactly what he wanted at the time. Because it's very few friends that have supportive husbands that are okay with a phone ringing at 2 and it's your friend in a bad place, pick up, and they don't have a problem with it. Or my friend is going through a phase, I need to be there at awkward times, and they would drive her to me, to help. So I was in a very bad state, I won't even lie. Suicide was an option, was actually the only option.
You had those thoughts?
I even attempted suicide twice. So it wasn't a good place. I was in a very bad place because then I felt like, look, what am I telling people out there? This is one day I was a Christy, now I'm in a very bad space.
Absolutely.
What am I? People will laugh at me. People will talk.
And it happens a lot to it happens a lot to a lot of people in the industry where you were there and now you are rock bottom. You can't even walk out of your yard because you're thinking, what are people gonna think? I lost so much weight. I wish I could share those pictures. For real. I was so small. It was so sad. Really, God, small is underestimation. I was tiny, and I'm a big person naturally. So I became so small because I couldn't eat. All I wanted was alcohol. For as long as it's alcohol, I'm good. That's all I want, just to help me sleep. And, and a lot of people felt like I had people that would always think my marriage had a lot to do with my depression, but it wasn't even my marriage that had quite a lot to do with my depression. It's actually the depression that was actually even affecting
my depression was affecting the marriage because then I felt like, look, I'm not good enough. I quit my job for my marriage, but then again, I'm feeling like I'm failing my home also. I'm not a helper, and it was just so much. So now it affected my home.
Absolutely.
Yes. So it was like that. So
is it the point where the book comes about? How do you pick your pieces up and say, hey, listen?
So one day I sat and my publisher is my cousin. He's based in the States, and I was talking to him because he would always check in, how you doing?
Yeah.
And I remember I was talking to him on WhatsApp, and at that point I was on separation.
Yeah.
So my comfort now was more. I relied more on prayer, and because I had even gone to China for depression.
For real?
Yeah.
It was that bad?
Yes. I did that for 6 months. So I had a very amazing counselor who would always call to check up because I had very bad anxiety attacks. But it got to a point where my friends needed to tell me, look, you need to, you're the only child. You've got a mom. You've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
You need to live enough for these people.
Right.
But you can't live enough for them in a state like this. You need to get better. Seek help. So I began to seek help, and I'll talk to my cousin every now and then, and he said, share your thoughts with me. And I sent him, I think that was like a voice note of over 30 or 45 minutes. I kept sending like there were 4 of them.
Yeah.
You know, because I was crying and I was talking and I was venting. And he told me, write. Do you write? I said, I've been writing for the past 2 years. That's all I do. I love to write in my journal. And he said, what's the one thing you'd want to do now that you'd feel at least would make you happy? And I said, I want to write a book. And he said, you're sure you want to write a book? I said, yes. And he said, do you trust me enough to share your journal with me? And I said, yeah, sure. You know, you're my brother. If anything goes out, I'll know it's you. So it's just you, me. He's like, okay, I need you to send me your journal. And I said, I can't start plucking out pages and scan it. He's like, no. I want you to send it to me, a whole lot of a journal
to me.
packet, take it to DHL and send it. And I did that, and I sent it. It took him 2 months to go through my journal. And the next thing he's sent me, he's like, your first book ever. Find a title for it. Send me dedications, acknowledgements, everyone you want to add in it. But this is what I came up with. So it was so big. So when he sent it to me, it was really big. I read, I broke down. I hadn't even told anybody I was working on a book.
For real.
Then now I had to.
So this is like your first time reading about yourself.
My first time reading about myself.
How did you feel?
It was overwhelming. And at some point, it was very heartbreaking because I kept on telling myself, like, when did I become this suicidal, this person that's so bitter with life? I'm a very happy person, you know. And I read, and I told him, I said, this book is too big. And he said, why? I said, because we Zambians have a very bad reading culture. We don't read big books. So I need to make it smaller. Because my first book, I don't want to congest it. I just want something small. And he said, okay, what are we writing about? I just said, this is me just appreciating the light and from the darkness to where I am now and in the light, and how I found God as my source of strength, you know. So when I began to talk about my book and I started telling people, I've worked on a book, I've wrote a book, a lot of people felt like it was me talking about my marriage in that book, or the failure about my marriage. But if anything, my first book has nothing to do with my marriage.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there that has anything that can hold me to say, oh, this is why you went on separation, this is why this happened, this is why the marriage failed, or this is why you got it. There's nothing. If anything, I appreciated my ex-husband in that book more than anything, because I felt like, look, yes, we had our bad days, yes, we didn't work out, but at some point you were my happiness, you were my joy, and I'm gonna appreciate the good I saw in you and not the bad, you know, because I'm like, as bad as it wasn't all one person's fault, you know.
What led to the separation though? You guys were cool together, would meet in places like, I want to have something like that.
I think, you know, sometimes you feel someone is meant, humanly they're meant, spiritually they're not for you.
And how do you figure that out?
We were never in agreement. We were okay being in public because we would act the part out. That's us. We would act it out. But when we're behind closed doors, it was a very toxic environment for both of us. You know, it's either one didn't want to be around the other person for this long, or, you know, and I remember seeing a very happy person outside, but when he got in, it was very sad. And I became sad because I said, why would you come home and be sad?
I want that happy person.
You know, I want that happy person that I saw outside. But then I realized I was not his happy place. And that's okay. I think it's important that women need to realize, if you're not someone's happy, don't hold it against them. let people go to find their happiness as you also find your own happiness.
Oh, that's the greatest expression of love. I
So,
will tell you what.
I loved him enough to let him go to find his peace, and he's happy. And I told God, I said, there's never been a point, Charlie, I prayed to God and I said, fix my marriage. That's a lie.
For real?
I never prayed to God to fix my marriage. I said, God, if my marriage is meant to be well, it's in your will. It'll be fixed. I don't have to pray for it to be done. You know, it's the same thing I would always say. If God are meant to be successful, I'm not going to pray for success. I'm not going to ask you to give me success. If it's meant for me, it will find me. Right now, I'm only thanking you for whatever has already been set in the spiritual realm. I'm just going to be here waiting for it in the natural aspect. You know, so I didn't pray for God to fix my home. I actually prayed for God to make him more successful. I said, God, may this man succeed. May he become one of the richest people I'll walk and see and say, that's a good man.
Wow.
Years down the line, he's a very successful person. He's a great father to the kids. Him and his wife are amazing people to our children. And our co-parenting is bliss.
Amazing.
You know, I talk to his wife more than I talk to him, but she's amazing. You know, and she's a beautiful person. She's inside and outside. And people find it weird that I would actually be sitting and saying...
So you guys, it's cool. Like, you talk like...
There's no bad blood. I mean, he found happy. And that's his happy
And you're
place.
happy to see him happy.
I'm happy to see him happy. I'm happy to see him flourish. I'm happy to see that he's with somebody that gives him a glow. You know, there's a glow. Last time I saw him, he had gained. And I'm just like... The woman that's keeping you is taking good care of your ass. Better than I ever did. And for me, that gives me peace and joy.
Absolutely.
Because if he's happy, she's happy, my kids are happy. Happy children make a happy mom. So I'm...
Great stuff.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. So tell me about your book. The book is done and it comes out. And I saw a couple of interviews about it. That's the time I wanted to have you on the show.
Yes.
Look, how long has it been? Now the second book is coming. Yeah, so the book comes out, and how did that change your perception of yourself? Because now people are reading it and obviously getting feedback.
Yes, huge, because I had a lot of people call me. You know, we didn't know this part of you. We didn't know you were this passionate about prayer. I come from a background of prayer. So for me, that's the biggest priority is prayer. I got to know more of God when I was in a bad place, and I don't regret that at any point. So my book was mainly just me sharing the light moments, just me giving that woman advice. Like, look, if you feel it's too dark for you, there's always going to be a hole somewhere that the light will just surpass the darkness that's in there. Be patient enough, you know. So I got feedback. It was very overwhelming. I got a lot of interviews. I got a lot of endorsement deals. I turned down a few because they didn't stand with what I was standing for.
Yeah, they didn't align.
They didn't align with my word or what I believed in. So I had to just chill back and get the greatest endorsement I got. Was not even so much money. It was the smallest money, but I loved it because it aligned with my beliefs. You know, they were there for me, and that's how I had a whole team come. And they actually, at that time, they said, okay, fine, we've launched in Lusaka, we need to go launch Copper Belt. And I said, no, wait.
Wow.
Relax. It's overwhelming just launching in Lusaka and having people to just understand, you know, where I'm at right now. So it's good. I like it here. When we do the second book, if there'll be a second book, let's launch outside Lusaka. You know, I'll say here, I inspired IK to do his book.
Yo, for real.
Because when he came for my launch, he was like the guest of honor, and he said, you've inspired me to do my book. I inspired my bishop to write a book and launch.
You inspired me to write my book. I'm
go.
halfway in.
You see, so it's
amazing.
It was like that. So for me, it was very overwhelming. But at the same time, it was amazing because it's a book. Then suddenly now everybody's asking, want you back on radio? Want you back on TV? You know, and I'm like, I'm just starting to rebrand. So let me have a little bit of time and
So from the story you've given me and what you put in your Facebook, I realized that number one, you're a person that is so patient. That's number one. And then number two, you are stubborn with what you believe in.
Yes.
Let's talk about, we see a lot of women now try to hold on to what is seemingly not working. And that's something that you actually talked about just now. how do you then realize that this is not working or this is not for me, but this is something that you've dedicated your life, your time, and everybody else? Because, when you're together, it's two families looking up to you. How then do you convince yourself to say, this is not working and I want out?
It's about you. It's not about everybody around you.
Isn't that selfishness, though?
You're supposed to be selfish with your happiness, Charlie. Be selfish with... For God's sake, He died on the cross for you and you're happy. Why would you want to hold back to the happiness that God has planned for you? Like, oh my God, you guys. Be selfish a little with your happiness, If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's okay. It didn't work, it didn't work out. Find other ways to make you happy, because at the end of the day, you need to make yourself happy.
Right.
Prioritize your happiness. Because I sat there, I'm like, this man died on the cross for my sins.
I need to be happy. I deserve. Not I need,
and
I
he
deserve.
wants happy for me. He wants wealth for me, not riches. We're speaking wealth for me. And I should be here miserable? At whose expense? No, honey. I'm walking out. I don't care about, a lot of people will throw stones. People will judge you.
Absolutely.
People will say what they need to say. But only you fit in your shoe perfectly. You are the reason for your own Cinderella shoe. So I'm not going to try and force myself into a shoe I am not comfortable in. I have to be comfortable. So I didn't care about what people said. Obviously, at the beginning, it was very hard because I was worried about what would people say. I'll be judged. She left her job, her career for a home, and it didn't work out. People will laugh. And I'm like, look, they'll laugh, but for how long? It's me to work on myself. It's me to do me. And now, who was the last love?
100%.
So it's about yourself. Be selfish with your happiness. Deliberately be selfish with your happy. And believe me, you will not regret it. I always tell, if I had to give you my inbox and tell you open, I have multiple messages from different women. Abused women that have been married years more than I was ever married. Women that are beaten. I have pictures, I have stuff. And I'm always telling people to say, right now, what is it that you want? What is it? Is it the marriage that you want, or is it your happy and your peace and sanity? I'm never an advocate for divorce. Bear in mind, I hate divorce. Divorce is a very bad place. It does a lot of things to people. You need to be strong to get out of it and still remain positive. And I always tell people, look, divorce is never an answer. But for that marriage to work out, you need to be happy. Fix you. Be happy. Work on yourself.
Depends on your sanity.
Your sanity. A man loves a happy woman. You should realize that most happy marriages are not because there's so much money, there's everything. But it's the fact that you are old and you've got that wisdom enough to differentiate what works and what doesn't. If the good outweighs the bad, do that. Don't keep pinching on things you can't change. Or he's coming home at 2. I'm going to send him a stink, and then what? How is that going to change? You know what I mean? Let him come home at 2. Men love, a meek woman is not a woman away from strength. It's like a Proverbs 31 woman. A Proverbs 31 woman is a very strong woman. But when you read, people think it's because they say she's a helper, she has to be humble. People be like, no, that's a very weak woman because she's submissive. A submissive woman is a very powerful woman. When a man sees a woman submit, best believe me, he will have no reason to want to go look out there. And we have a lot of women with the mentality of, oh no, man, a man will still cheat on you even if you submit. No, honey, men are different. Breeds are very different. A man takes time to grow. Let him grow, and let him take time. Believe me, a Proverbs 31 woman is a very strong woman. It's a meek woman, but you don't do it loud for the whole world to hear. You're doing things in silence of your comfort, in a peaceful environment. There's nothing wrong with. I have friends I know somebody that would say, but why is it that you always tell your partner where you are every after 2 minutes, or if you're making a move? I'm like, that's because I'm reciprocating the love I am getting. And it comes from me being submissive to this person, because he has no reason to not even want to let me know. So now even him, when he makes a move, it's mandatory. Babe, I'm here. I'm at the bank. I'm here. Oh, great. So it's tradition like that. So I think women are more powerful than they think they are, but we feel like we're more powerful in the hate direction. But there's so much grace in a woman that doesn't scream loud. There's so much grace in silence.
Absolutely.
I don't need to scream all over this place for people to notice I came through. It's just in gladly walking and cuddling around with my smile and all that. That's amazing. You don't have to be loud for people to know that you're around. So it's like that.
Trends now are teaching women to say, you don't have to keep quiet. You don't have to keep quiet. You have to speak out. Your man has to hear you out. You don't have to be suppressed in a corner. You need to show him who you are and whatever. And that's totally different from what you've just explained now.
It has to come with respect.
Do you feel like maybe we're diametrically opposed generation now, where we have half the camp is saying, be a meek woman. Half the camp is say, hey, show him what you got. You even do that.
You know that social media has messed a lot of people up, because we want to believe, because when a new generation and this whole, it's modern, it's technology, you need to change how you need to act. You know what I mean? I always say respect should not be something that should be based on the situation or based on someone's status. Respect should be even with a 1-year-old, because that's where it starts from. How I choose to respect a child and how I choose to respect a 99-year-old man should be the same. There shouldn't be any difference.
Absolutely.
Respect is respect, regardless of status. So even with women, that's all you need to, yes, you need to air your views out to a man, but do it in a very respectful way. There's nowhere in, you know why most things don't work out? Is because we want to do things that are away from the Bible. There's nowhere in the Bible that says you should shout at a man. Wait, no, you're supposed to be very respectful. Women that choose to be respectful, you should notice that women that choose to be respectful regardless of status to their partners are very strong women. You don't have to shout.
Absolutely.
And you get the same respect back, because we live in this certain direction of believing what the word has to say. We have a lot of people that, for me, I'm okay, and I respect people's religions. I respect that. And I'm like, oh yeah, this person is this religion. It's well respected. But I'm Christian. And for me, I stand by my word. I stand by how I've been raised as a Christian. I stand by the Bible. I speak on behalf of me and my family and my kids, you know, my sisters and everyone around me. It's because that's how I've been raised. And I've seen it work.
Right.
You know, I've seen it work for my mom. I've seen it work for my aunties. I've seen my auntie.
And so it comes naturally for you. Like,
yes, because my auntie, one of my aunties has been married for over 64 years.
64?
Yes. And she's friends with her husband. You know, and they'll cheat and they'll sit and talk and laugh like friends. And that's because even until to date, she still cooks for her husband. She kneels down, washes his hands, and sets the table.
And there's nothing wrong in
there's
that.
There's nothing wrong in that. It's not you being weak. You know, royalty is a standard.
Yeah.
So being blessed with a king, you have to keep in reaching that royalty for that person.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it's like that.
Somebody needs to hear that.
So it's very simple. It's just respect. You know what I mean? And I feel like for me, with my past, I didn't feel like I respected the person I was with as much, because then I felt like I needed to be in this modern environment. But with time, I got to realize respect actually plays a very huge role on society and everyone around you. You know, the way I've taught my kids. My smallest is 5. When you come to my house and you sit, the first thing after they greet you, they'll get you a glass of water, put it on a tray, and come and kneel and give you water. Because I taught them, no matter where somebody's coming from, make sure you serve them water first, because they'll need to have a glass of water before they get into anything else. My smallest at 5 kneels. When she's giving me water, she's giving me a spoon, I ask her for something. It's like that.
Amazing.
That's how I'm raising my kids. And I said, don't feel bad if your friend doesn't kneel. You come from different homes with very different lessons. Do what works in this house.
Oh, tell you what, they're so lucky to have you as a mother.
And that's how it is, because that's how my mom raised me. You know, we can't control half of what the kids do when they're out of the gate. But with the little I can, let me control what I can within my confines of the house.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. You hinted to me that your second book might be on its way. Could it be? Because I think if it should materialize, it's going to be one of the greatest books.
Thank you. I finished my book a year ago, my second book. This is going to be my last book. I don't intend, after this, I want to do a movie myself.
You can do anything.
Yes, I'm putting my mind to it.
Yeah.
I want to do a movie about myself. Not really a movie, documentary, but that's a story for another day. But my book was done a year ago, my second book. This one, I go in naked. It's raw. I don't sugarcoat anything. I mention names. And I say it as it is. You know? So I talk about single parenting. I talk about because after my divorce, I dated someone. And then I got a shocker of my life.
Again.
You know?
You don't learn.
And imagine that. I'm just like, no, guys, we'll heal in heaven. Yeah, it's okay.
Let's get into it.
So I talk about that. I talk about how to handle certain issues that I've managed to come out of myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an open book. It's very, again, I was going to do it in March, but my publisher says maybe we do May, mid-month, or we do month-end. So we're still trying to work around it, but my whole management team is ready for it because I work under a whole full management. I have a whole brand. I have the whole shenanigans. So yeah, the management is ready for it, and yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm excited because I really want people to read it.
Yeah.
Because with this one, I think I explained a few questions that people have, and I deliberately did. It's got a lot of visual because we have screenshots attached to certain phases where I needed to explain something.
It's got receipts.
Yes, I need people to realize it wasn't my fault that I said this. It's because it came from here, you know? So I'm just like, look, reference, it's there. This is how this conversation started. Wow. Yeah, so...
How long has it been a work in progress?
It took me... When did I start? I started writing it in 2020. It took me a year to put, because I was waiting, and I kept on telling people I'm waiting for the finishing. I'm waiting for something to happen, and that something happened. So that's when my finishing happened.
You're so visionary. You remind me of Kanye. Like what?
I was honestly waiting for something to happen. So that something happened, and a lot of people think that something that I was waiting to happen was supposed to happen for me, but it was happening for someone else. Yeah. So I needed that to happen for someone else so that I can put it in my book and say that's the ending I've been waiting for.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's amazing, man. That's really amazing. So now, being a person that has been in the media for a long time, immense experience, one thing that I've really noticed is that a lot of female, especially people that are in the media, don't really last long. The few that have stood the test of time are just a handful, and part of the reason is that they expect you to be a woman first before you actually go on the microphone or before you appear on TV. Moving forward, we live in an age where we need to empower women to, take all these leadership positions, and media is actually one of them. What could be some of the tips that you feel women should look out for as they're stepping into the media? Because I know as we're speaking right now, there's somebody who's thinking like, oh, you know what, I want to do TV, I want to do radio. Longevity in the media industry. What are some of the tips and tricks?
I think for a few people I know, even for me that went away for a bit and still came back, at least managed to pick up my pieces and still get back into the industry. What works is, firstly, never despise humble beginnings. It's very important that you always remember where you're coming from and how you started. And don't step on people's toes just because you've got one big break. Right. And you feel like, oh, now that I'm able to have a host a show on national broadcaster, or people are listening to me on Q, or is it Phoenix, or it's whatever big radio station you're on, and you feel you're bigger or better than anybody else. That doesn't work. A few endorsements should not make you grow big-headed, because there's life after those endorsements, and what are you doing with that life? And there are people looking at you away from the endorsements. Who are you inspiring? Who are you being an inspiration for? Are you being an inspiration for your own kids, your own family, your household? What is it that you're doing? And also, I think for you to just stay very relevant and consistent in the industry is to push the right way. I always like to say, if you love something, you're doing something out of passion, best believe me, it'll pay you better than the actual money that you expect to get. Because if you do something out of passion, it actually pays you better. Because then paying sometimes might not even mean in the money aspect, you know, but it's even that to people that are watching and are inspired by you, because then they're able to tell other people about you. Absolutely. So now you get to still live on and be a living legend in a positive direction. So I always feel like, look, work is work. I take industry as work for me.
Absolutely,
so it is work. Is the way you have bank tailors, the way you have bank managers,
you marketing
managers, chauffeur tenants, all those. It's work. Away from that, it's back to your normal life. So don't let so much of it be out there for people to critique. Leave a few things for people to be like, what is this person up to, And for me, I think I learned that over time. I learned that with time.
But it's a little bit hard to do that, especially when you're on national TV.
Yes, it is very hard. But once you leave national TV, you're back to being Christabel.
Yeah.
I'm just back to being the normal, regular girl. I'll get in the car. If it's a taxi, if it's an Orlando, it's a bus.
And I'll tell you, one of the greatest pleasures of this industry is that when you leave the public eye and go back to your space, just to be you, kick off your shoes, watch TV.
Yes.
Oh man,
it's
that
everything,
is amazing because nobody's in your space now.
And the worst, I think, also what makes a lot of people feel like they need to get down, a lot of women, is there's always that aspect of feeling you can't make a mistake because you're a public figure. So once you make a mistake, everybody's, hey, they're not allowed to make that. No, I'm only human before anything.
Yeah.
It's just a type of career that's different from yours that I've chosen.
Have you made blunders on radio or on TV?
Have I? No.
No ways. No. Everybody have asked, I said, ooh, I read the news 5 minutes before the news because my watch wasn't correct.
No, I haven't. Hey,
yeah.
I don't know if it's not bragging, but I feel like this I can put out there. I can be given a
mistake.
No, I can be given a new script.
Yeah.
Even 2 minutes before, and I'll still nail it.
Wow.
I think maybe it's a superpower I come with, and maybe because I love to read. So, I would tell you this: even people I've worked for that have done people I've worked for that have done newscasting for.
Yeah.
Something they will tell you is they could count on me to read the news even without me going through it. I'm able to correct it I'm able to correct it by reading. Yes, because then I'm reading, there's a mistake in the headline, so we got this. So I don't know, it might be a superpower, but it's that. I've really never met bladders, because then I take my job very seriously, because I feel like it's how they, BBC, you make a blunder, you are fired.
Gone.
Mispronunciation of anything, you are gone there and then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, I take it that serious that I don't know who's watching. It might be an international person watching, and it's me they want. The little mistake I make, it'll cost me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I make sure I pay so much attention to it.
And now heading a radio station, I'm meeting a lot of 2000s coming and wanting to be in the media, and their work ethic is pathetic. They will tell you exactly what you just said. I made a lot of mistakes because the news came 2 minutes before.
No, but that's not an excuse.
News reading time. And I'm like, this generation is crazy.
That's not an excuse, because I think you need to put your best foot forward.
Absolutely.
It's something, and this career puts food on my table. It pays my bills. I'm going to do the best at
100%.
it. You don't go to a bank teller and they miscalculate your 10,000 money.
I say, sorry.
I slipped my mind. I forgot to put 100 kwacha not there. You're going with less.
Nah.
They focus. It's a job. So the way they take it serious is the way you also need to take it serious.
Absolutely.
Forget the fame. You know what I mean? Anybody can be famous, Charlie.
Absolutely.
I can go shit in the middle of the road. I will be famous for shitting in the middle of the road.
Absolutely.
Anyone can be famous and it can be a pathetic reason, can be a good one, but what puts food on the table should be something you take seriously.
Yeah.
So it's just like that. So
you need to take the job seriously these ones, eh? So, Christy 2022, what are we looking at for you? What does the future hold?
Oh, there's so much. I wish I could share. I can't share everything, but I'll be getting back to radio full time. I do radio though once a week.
You'll be back on radio?
Yes.
Oh, yes. You're going to tell me which radio station now?
No, I can't. I'm yet to finish
you need to get
my
back
contract.
full-time.
But I'm getting back to radio full time. For now, the only reason it's delayed is because I do a show for Ruby's Energy Zambia, because I'm brand ambassador as well as PR for them. Yeah. So I do a show that comes on Power FM on Thursdays. I get to host different celebrities. We just get to understand the kind of music criteria that they love to listen to. So with that, when that's away, then I'm accommodative, and it's just part-time. But I'm getting back to full-time radio. I'm getting back to newscasting as well. Yeah. So the whole shenanigan. My book also
dropping this year.
We're
looking forward to
dropping this year as well. So I'm excited because I think 2022, it's not been the most amazing, I think, for a lot of people, even for me per se, but it's looking good. Yeah. Regardless, it looks good. So I'm excited about 2022, and it's
amazing.
I've got a great support system. I've got kids. I've got Labu around, so it's I've got family, so it's very good support system.
Amazing stuff. Looking from where you're from, what you've been through, where you're at now, when it's all said and done, what you want to be remembered as?
I want to be remembered as one of the most happiest people on this earth.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with everything, there can be greater people. There'll be great TV personalities after me. There'll be great radio personalities, but there'll never be a Christy.
Absolutely.
There's only one Christy. So may I be remembered for being a person that didn't really center so much on things I can't change. But may I be remembered for being the person that found positivity regardless of whatever is thrown at her. You know, my mom always loves to say, you're the only human being I know that even when you're sad, you smile when you're crying. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, because there's hope that after the tears, things are going to be okay, you know, and it's that. So may I be remembered, I think, for just being positive. Firstly, may I be remembered for being a very prayerful person, because I love to pray a lot.
Amazing.
May I be remembered for, I think, just regardless of being down, and regardless of stones being thrown at me and rocks being created off my head, maybe known for the person that still rose beyond, and people were like, she's back.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, I've had people that would tell me bad things, but then the following day I'm still smiling at them. I've had people that would probably pull a trigger if I turned around, but I'll still sit and laugh with them without any bad blood. So I just want to be known for being a person that was very positive about life, and create amazingness from the little opportunities that you are given.
That's the word right there. Yeah. That's the word. Nice talking to you, Christy.
Thanks for having me, Charlie.
Always a pleasure. And thank you. We made it happen finally.
Yeah. After how many years?
I can't even remember. But hey, I would tell you one thing. Most of all, keep shining.
Thank you.
Love you long time.
So much.
Love you long time. This is what we call it a wrap for this week. Until next week, it's been Charlie, and we out.